fourth stimulus check coming. The American Rescue Plan had barely become law in March when lawmakers started pushing for a fourth stimulus check, and either in the form of another one-time payment or as recurring payments for the duration of the pandemic. Senator Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and 19 other members of the Senate earlier this spring sent a letter to Joseph Biden urging him to include reoccurring direct payments in his upcoming stimulus proposal. So this third stimulus payment was for up to $1,400, had gone to those who met those requirements. There was also money going to certain individuals in the form of a plus-up form. So a fourth stimulus check could send another round of multiple rounds of relief payments to eligible Americans. Both monthly stimulus checks and one-time stimulus checks worth up to $2,000 have been proposed so far. So a fourth stimulus check is still a possibility right now, with the third round of economic relief payments winding down. Over 167 million payments of up to $1,400 per person have been distributed since the American Rescue Plan ARP passed in mid-March. Another 1.8 million people are due to receive checks this week. So many plus-up payments for those who didn't originally receive them. They were due, have also been sent. So taken together, that covers most of the $422 billion set aside in President Biden's $1.9 trillion third stimulus package. So more than 50 House Democrats have called on Biden to advocate for reoccurring payments until the pandemic is over. Representative Ilhan Omar, Democratic Minnesota, led the efforts for reoccurring checks back in January, urging in a statement to the president with colleagues. So a one-time payment of $2,000 is simply not enough. The American people are counting on us to deliver transformative change, and we need to meet the moment by delivering monthly payments of $2,000. Interesting. So state Democrats have also joined together in support of a fourth stimulus checks, as roughly 21 of the 50 senators wrote a letter to the president saying, "We urge you to include reoccurring direct payments and automatic unemployment insurance extensions tied to the economic conditions in your Build Back Better long-term economic plan." Build Back Better. The White House, Biden has not committed to the checks, but he has also not ruled them out. When asked about a fourth check earlier this month, White House Press Secretary Jan Psaki said, "We'll see what members of Congress propose, but those are not free." Translation, what's she doing? Punting. So Biden is currently focused on passing the American Jobs Plan and the American Families Plan, as well as during the spiraling crisis in the Middle East that he's got to deal with now. So going back to California Governor Newsom, when asked whether more aid was coming, Newsom said in California, the answer is yes. He is not waiting for the federal government and instead using a budget surplus that he just got to launch another round of Golden State stimulus, which will likely be $600 checks for individuals, plus $500 for dependents, available to most earners making between $30 and $75K per year, including undocumented workers will get a check as well. Nearly 80% of the state's tax filers would receive the payments. Democratic Congress people told Newsweek. Newsweek reports that over 80 Democrats in Congress are now on board with the idea. 6 weeks ago, top Democrats had sent a letter, Biden encouraging payments. Nancy Pelosi has not ruled it out. 9 weeks ago, she memorably replied to a query about more stimulus payments with, "You'll have to ask the virus." We'll have to ask the virus. So the people, almost 2/3 of voters, think stimulus payments are a good idea, according to a January poll. and a petition on change.org for monthly stimulus checks through the duration of the pandemic now has north of 2.2 million seniors signatures. Who would have thought that free payments from the Treasury are popular? Okay, I want to tell you a story. When I was in Mexico for over a month, we were doing business down there, and I was with one of our colleagues, property manager, and he said, Tim, I want you to meet this friend of mine from Canada. He's going to be coming in. He's just going to be coming to meet us for lunch. So this gentleman sat down, and through that conversation, I learned that he used to live in Mexico, and he had to sell his place, some financial difficulties. Then he went back to Canada, and during the last year, the lovely Justin Trudeau, this individual said, well, I love what Justin Trudeau is doing and what's going on in Canada. I'm getting $2,000 a month of universal basic income the last year. You make under 75 there. I think it's about $2,000 a month he's collecting. I said, well, that's great. He's like, Tim, I want to buy a house down here with that money. There you go. So, you're going to use government money to enrich yourself. I think in this pandemic, we need some short-term solutions and help for people that are struggling. But universal basic income, that's not the conversation I want to get into on this video, but that has a lot of negatives to it as well. It's not just positive and encouraging people to stay home and not work. So we do need some short-term solutions. That's just one example of an individual in Canada. And with all these stimulus monies and printing and PPP monies that people use to buy other things and cars and what have you, and really didn't need the money. So there's a lot of people getting money that don't need it, and people not going back to work. And we all know the small businesses are struggling right now because they can't get workers because they're making up to $50,000 a year collecting unemployment. So I do believe a lot of people were harmed with this pandemic. Absolutely 100%. People need help. But we don't want people taking advantage, including our government officials and all the kickbacks that go on throughout all levels of this pandemic, not just the poor workers and people trying to survive on the streets. It's not just Main Street, it's Wall Street, K Street. Everyone's just got to not be so greedy. So we'll see about that fourth stimulus payment. It's on the table. People are talking about it. More to come. Take care. Be creative.